Hello. Today I'm going to start a series on the Sensica/Delta Ohm HD35 data loggers. Just a word of explanation. Delta Ohm has become Sensica. They joined together with a number of other companies, and while we still have some product branded Delta Ohm and Sensica are the same thing ostensibly, but as new product comes out, it will tend to be marked with Sensica as opposed to Delta Ohm. But it's just a name, and as Shakespeare tells us in Romeo and Juliet, what's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Now, there are some unique benefits to the Delta Ohm/Sensica solution that I'll talk about with you today. Every man and his dog is doing wireless data loggers these days, but we have some really special features with the Delta Ohm/Sensica. Now, in Delta Ohm world, the base unit is called an AP, an access point. So this is the receiver. This particular model has RJ45 for standard networking, and it has an antenna on it. It does use a standard SMA style connector, wired the correct way, not the slightly obscure Chinese product way. So you have a female on the base, and then the transmitters, if you like, are in the Delta Ohm world called end devices. So here we have a waterproof end device, and here we have a conventional end device, and they simply mount into a bracket like so. So this is not IP rated. This is rated IP67. Okay, I said about some unique features. First of all, the Delta Ohm cloud is free. I'll say that again. The cloud is free. In a lot of cases, the manufacturers sell their products cheaper up front and then make up the money on a subscription that you have to pay for, but not in the case of the Delta Ohm/Sensica cloud. I'll bring up one for the Homershams office, which you're very free to copy and have a look at if you wish. So we're measuring a number of things here. We're measuring the CO2 in the office, the indoor temperature and the outdoor temperature, and we can download from here. The unit operates on its own radio network. So there is a band of frequencies called the industrial and scientific band, industrial, scientific and medical, which is in the 900 megahertz band. And that's a very, very good band to use. So it is not using domestic Wi-Fi. It's a much more advanced system than that. So it goes point to point. So we go from many end devices to a base, and one can do that via a repeater if the range is not good enough. And it means that you're clear of any of the domestic-y style Wi-Fi. It's making its own wireless access point. The other advantage is that once you get to these very high frequencies, or ultra high frequencies as UHF is termed, the lower the frequency, the longer the range. In New Zealand, these operate at 900 to 920 megahertz, which means they do have greater range than Wi-Fi, in some cases significantly more. And given that they have external antenna connections, you can get a great deal more range, and we carry in stock antennas with different range. Now, one of the other claims to fame of the Delta Ohm units is that they're not just fixed input units. So in the example we have here, this is a 4 universal input logger. So if you can measure it, we can log it. This will take 4 to 20 milliamps, 0 to 10 volts, pulse counts, PT100s, PT1000s, thermocouples, etc. So, as I say, if you can measure it and give you an output, we can log it. And that's a little bit unique. I've seen a lot of systems out there exist that only have fixed temperature or fixed humidity, or fixed sensors of whatever sort. Whereas in the case of the Delta Ohm sensor card, we can measure anything. So that's a 4-input waterproof IP67 model, and this is a 3-input indoor non-IP rated unit. Let's take a look at the software just briefly. The software, which is also free and really free, is available for download from the Sensica website. And in this case, this is the unit that I showed you before, measuring the office conditions. So we have the indoor temperature, outdoor temperature, and CO2. These are very similar because right now the door is open between offices. It allows one to create very nice reports, so you can easily produce a very comprehensive and very professional looking report for your client or for yourself. Each of the EDs, and you'll remember that's end device, not the dreaded mail problem, shows here, and we can click on it and adjust the settings for that end device remotely. And we can click on the AP, the access point, and adjust settings for that too. Here we see the radio power that we're receiving, which is a very strong signal. Minus 77 dB millivolts is a very strong signal. That's a great signal. Down to about minus 100, 108, 110 decibel millivolt will give you a good signal. And we can choose what we display on this top layer here, on this top row. When we first connect, I'll disconnect this particular session. When we go to connect, we have a choice of connections. In my case, I'm using the networking option. So if I go to type of connection, I'm using a TCP client, and I'm connecting to the unit that's elsewhere in our building. But if we're plugged in by the USB cable, one can connect directly as well. And that's useful for first setting the unit up. So we'll connect again. Oh, sorry. Select the right tool. Type of connection, TCP client. Right, now we're connecting. Now I've got about 3 or 4 years of data on here, but just to give you a very simple example, we could create a report. Oh, before I go to the reports, I'll show you the simple mode. Let's say you have a monitor put aside for displaying your temperatures. One can set up a monitor where you have just a very simple display, displaying nothing but temperatures. So I've got some customers who use these in factories who just have this display showing, which makes a very easy display for the staff to wander past and have a look at. You can have up to about 200 end devices, so you're unlikely to be limited by the number of devices you have. Each screen we have here, this is measures 1 through 12, 12 through 20, 13 through 24, 25 through 36. So you can have an awful lot of data displayed here. And of course we can see graphs, etc. as well. Let's do a quick report and then we'll call that it for today. Let's say we want to manually download some data from the data point. Quite often one would normally have it running automatically, but I'm going to just manually say, let's have a look what happened in the office here over the weekend. So today is Monday the 29th. Let's go from Friday the 27th and we'll execute that. And so that is now downloading the data from the end device to the base unit, the access point. And as I say, one would normally not have to do this because you would have it set to be automatically downloading from the access point at whatever period that you selected here. But I've just manually selected it. So as soon as that finishes, you'll see a whole lot of data scrolling down the screen in a moment. What have we got? 27th, there we go. As I say, you would not normally have to do this. Normally it would be all in there, but I'm just manually doing it. So it's finished. Let's take a look at that data. So we'll select, well, say yesterday to today. That's our unit, that's the data we're measuring. And there we have the temperature over the weekend. So here we are on the 28th of the 9th. Here we are through the 29th. So currently I'm set to 1 day. I could set that to 2 days and display that data, etc. Now let's say we wanted to create a report. We hit the, well, there's two things you can do. We can export straight to an Excel spreadsheet if you wanted to just do something with that. But let's make a nice report. We can call it whatever we want to call it, with notes in there, some more notes in there, who did it, etc. And report settings, we can put in whatever name we want to put here for the logo. I haven't got a logo loaded, so let's just use that for now. So we've used a little display as a logo. More data. Now, measure settings. What do we want to view? We can see graphs. Let's look at the statistics. That's a hard word to say on a Monday morning. Let's have daily statistics, and also let's have mean kinetic temperature. Those of you in the know that things like vaccines have a mean kinetic temperature maximum. So remember when the COVID vaccine was coming around, it could have stand up to an hour above the -40 that it was. But the mean kinetic temperature will give you the data you need for products that need that. Let's execute that. Okay, it's created that report. So let's go to where that is, which is on a different screen. Just let me drag it across here. We'll open this up as a PDF. And it's on the wrong screen again. The difficulty with two screens, trying to make a LinkedIn video. Okay, so there we have our report with our logo. We have 3 graphs. So it automatically draws the graphs based on the data it has for temperature in the office, temperature in the store, CO2 levels. Then we have statistics, and things get really interesting here. We have, over the entire time that we've downloaded the report for, we have minimum, we have maximum, we have the mean or average, we have the standard deviation from the mean, so we can immediately see how much variation we've got. Now we have the mean kinetic temperature. If you need to know that, you'll understand what that is. So those are the global statistics over those 3 days. Then we have the daily statistics over those 3 days. So you have a rather nice report that you can just save as a PDF. You can print out if you're working for a client. So, in summary, the units build their own network. There is no reliance on Wi-Fi. The cloud is free. Really, really free, forever free. The software is free. The system works extremely well. And we have both waterproof and non-waterproof models, and bear in mind that we have universal input types, so that if you can measure it and it has an output, we can almost certainly log it. So talk to Homishams about the once were Delta Ohm, now Sensica data loggers.